who's watching, join us to our worship here at Church for Coming Home on a hot Sunday afternoon in the end of July. So welcome everybody in the universe. And we have some announcements. We generally spend the first few minutes checking in for those of us who are here. Mostly thank you to Jamie Long for being just our awesome team leader. And he edited, so we're figuring out this live stream. So thank you so much, Jamie. I don't know, how can we thank you? You need to think of something we can do for you. That's. And I just mentioned our friend Opal Wong will be here next week, and we gave out an Opal Wong Award last year for somebody who was just very generous to the church. And Opal Wong has been very generous to the church, even pre-church. And then I am going to be gone in China and Korea, September 22nd, the 29th, and then October 6th. Those are 3 Sundays that we won't be meeting here. Our invocation is a prayer to the earth. And as they say, when you sing, you pray twice. So we'll sing our invocation and prayer to the earth and give thanks for our Mother Earth. Our dear, dear Mother, daily provider, earth be your name. Time has come to honor you, to know you and to show our love. The reason I thought it would be good to have 2 songs is that, we've left the earth out of our religion, of our sense of incarnation, invocation. So it's wonderful to bring it back. But the sun is also so important. The sun, S-U-N, Jesus, the sun, and the sun we've been in the solar age, going into the age of Aquarius. Why don't we sing our song, One Light, One Sun? And so, one light, one sun lighting everyone. One world turning everyone. And we give thanks for Rafi. And I took my granddaughter Lena to a Rafi concert. And now whenever I say, "Hey Lena, should we go to the park?" "No, I want to go see Rafi," she says. So whenever I say, "Should we go anywhere?" she says, "No, let's go see Rafi." Very cute. Okay, well, we have an opportunity to pray together. So if you'd like to join along in the prayer in unison. Dear God, you who we call by many names, we come to give you thanks, to study Scripture, to learn to pray, and to be brothers, sister for each other. We pray for all the refugees, 1 in every 113 people on planet Earth. May we ask, look, and knock on your door for your help to live in service to the least of these, as Jesus taught. Amen. And we haven't sung this song in a while. And I went to the river to pray, studying about that good old way. And who shall wear the starry crown? Good God, show me the way. Oh, Martha, let's go down, come on down. Oh, Martha, let's go down in the river to pray. I gotta tell you, there's a hummingbird over there that's like sipping the flowers while we're singing. So let's sing to the hummingbird the last time. And I went to the river to pray. Look at it, studying about that good old way. And shall wear the starry crown. Good God, show me the way. Oh, hummingbird, let's go down, come on down. Oh, hummingbird, let's go down in the river to pray. I wanted to share with you a little bit about my trip and to Camphill, an intentional community conference. And I thought we could begin by just being reminded this wonderful, asking, seeking, knocking, and this idea of prayer, I think, can be complicated for people. People often, I think, are confused on how to pray. But I think one of the best prayers is, God, help me, I'm in pain. There's so much pain all around me. This intentional community conference was really a profound experience for me. And if you think about what Jesus is saying in this scripture, he's talking about, we need to ask God for help. We need to seek, a different way, and we need to open the door, knock, try other things. So I think it really is God-centered, this idea that there's a God who will help us when we're ready and asking and seeking and knocking. And so at any rate, I'm calling this looking and finding, like an experience of God and the sacred. It's things like synchronicities, things like feeling like you're in love with creation or a person or whatever. Healing, service, dreams, all these ways in which we can look and find from a place like what you're talking about. You're giving the cure of abundance, but that we're all naming that the way we live is kind of crazy, and our church is in a position to study people who are saying, "Wow, let's live more sanely," and how do we do that? So at any rate, there's a prayer here I'll read, and then Jamie, would you read the next reading, which is about Camphill, and I wanted to share about what Camphill Hill is. Dear God, you have made us your people by calling us out of the desert into fertile ground, out of slavery into freedom, out of spiritual imprisonment and isolation into love and liberation. We give thanks. Amen. I am so excited to learn about Camphill, which I've just learned about recently, and to share that with you and everybody I talk to, because it seems so inspiring to me. And the conference that I went to was an intentional community conference that they have every 3 years. So there were many different kinds of communities, not only Camphill communities, but it happened to be geographically held at a Camphill community. I stayed at a Camphill community, and there were actually 4 Camphill communities nearby in Hudson, New York, near the Hudson River, just 2 hours north of New York City. And so we had an opportunity to both experience and live with a Camphill family, as well as visit all 4 that were in the area. And then there were many, many workshops. It was like going to Comic-Con. It was just so much. You couldn't go to all of them, so you had to just enjoy what you had. But I just really want to share with you that I really feel like I've had 3 major kinds of experiences of conversion in my life. And the first was going to seminary and discovering theologic ways of thinking and talking and reading that I'd never really been around. And then the teachings of Jesus, which just blew my mind. I've never been the same since. And then I think seizing an alternative in that conference really was a time when, and working with John Cobb, that I had this sense of, oh my gosh, it's really time to wake up to this ecologic emergency in a new way. So it was a kind of conversion experience, really, to that ecologic catastrophe. And then I really feel like learning about, and it's sort of come out of, there's been sort of, our church has been kind of asking and seeking and knocking, and so we're kind of saying, wow, if we're a church, and what could we become, and how could we support each other, and how could we support others who need service? And so we're in this kind of wild experiment with one another, and I just have to tell you, I hope we could all go visit a Camphill community. There's many other kinds that I learned about. One is Larch community, which Henry Nouwen, who was a really big deal when I was in seminary. He's a famous Catholic priest, and his writings were very, very popular when I was in seminary. He was from a Larch community. I didn't realize that. And it's very similar to Camphill, but it happened to have been started by a Canadian Catholic priest in France, but also they were highlighting and lifting up children with special needs. And there's something about that equation really clearly, as a person coming from the outside, that is a way in which a group of people in a community can get their values right and get their minds right and behave right towards one another, and understanding that we all have disabilities and that we all have gifts and that we're here to honor each other's gifts. And so it's very, very inspiring to me. There were people from kibbutzes in Israel. There were people from that are taking care of children with AIDS in Africa. There were, a great variety of people. But it was very definitely a Camphill experience. And so I wanted to just share with you a little bit about that. Okay, so in this equation that Jesus has of asking, God help me, of seeking, which could be anything. It could be just honoring your experiences. It could be study. It could be, trying to engage in therapy or interpretation of your dreams, or, it just could be a million things under the sun. But a sense of real looking and seeking. And then finally, Jesus says, and you knock on the door, and it will be opened. And I just have to tell you that I really feel that I was knocking at this Camphill door at this conference, and I really feel like God opened the door and let me come in and be in just really sacred relationship with many, many people. So, and there's a quote here, and this is from Jean Vanier, who is the man who, like Carl Koenig, started a similar kind of community, Larch. And there is one in Orange County, by the way, if you're interested in visiting with me. I'm very much looking forward to going and visiting. But he writes, frequently a call of Jesus is revealed to us as we feel truly at home in a community and discover that the community for us is a place of growth and love and in total acceptance of the good news of Jesus. And I remember there was a woman at one of the workshops that I went to, and she said, she was a Waldorf teacher, and she said, yes, when I came to Camphill, many Camphills have Waldorf schools because it comes out of, Steiner. A Camphill community would want their children to have Waldorf schools. And she said, yes, when I came to Camphill, I realized that this is what I'd always been looking for. And I felt so comfortable here. And I felt that way when I was there. It was really a profound experience. And I just thought I would share with you, I put some pictures on the front because, it was all about relationships. The beauty of the place, here you have in the bottom right-hand corner this incredibly beautiful geography of upstate New York, just rolling hills of fertile farmland. It was just incredibly beautiful. And the biodiversity farms that all the Camphill communities and all the Rudolf Steiner followers have been creating, there's 1% of farms are organic farms, and 1% of organic farms are biodiverse farms. So it's even more organic than organic. And so I am so interested in learning more about Rudolf Steiner, and it's such a phenomenon that he has been banished from the university, and most of us, I don't know if any of you studied Steiner in the university? You did? Yeah. But yes. And it's because he had there's several reasons, but he had many telepathic and clairvoyant experiences and wrote about them. So that's one reason. But at any rate, I just want to introduce you to some of the people that were really touching to me. In the bottom corner, you can see Ed and Ben were my hosts in a house that I stayed in. And you can see they're holding up yogurt. And every morning we had breakfast. And I loved this, eating everything from this farm. And on the yogurt that they made, they had all the names of the cows. I thought that was so sweet. But they were incredibly gracious hosts. And very accomplished people that have been, it's run as a nonprofit, and people come and take care of people and are taken care of in this community. And they're volunteers. They don't get paid. There are people who are workers there, but many are volunteers, but that they live there, like Ted and Ben. And then up on the left-hand corner is my friend Karen. And she is, many of these people have lived in Camphill for much of their life, and she is from the Camphill community in Minnesota, and we were staying in the same house, and we got to wake up early, and we were both early risers and drank coffee. It was just wonderful. She was very generous about sharing about her experiences and about Camphill, so she was a wonderful friend. In the center here, you see this is Duncan Hilton, and he is an Episcopal priest in Vermont, and he is starting a large community, or he's working with others who are doing so. And then on the right next to this is me and Lisa. And Lisa was a my roommate, and she was from Canada, outside of Toronto, and she's writing her PhD on intentional community. She has a farm herself. She has 2 children. She's married, and she was really a delight, and it was just so interesting to meet. Of course, the people make the place. And then in the middle down here below is Ruth, and she became a very good friend. And we just met doing an exercise together in a workshop and really connected. And she lives in Norway, and she and her husband have been living in Camphill communities all of their life. So I just wanted to just sort of give you a few of those. And then I wanted to just share, it was such a profound experience. It was beautiful. There was artwork everywhere. People are tremendously gracious and kind. There are art studios everywhere. You know, incredible. The architecture, which Steiner was studied and has all sorts of theories about, is all sorts of, you know, big windows with light everywhere. Everything is clean. I just, the food was fantastic. I mean, I can't tell you what a profound experience it was. I really felt like I'd gone to paradise. I really didn't want to come home. So I want all of us to have a Camphill experience. Walt and I are talking about going, and there's one Camphill community in California, in Santa Cruz. It's called Camphill, California. And so I hope to go there, but maybe I will inspire you. Yes, let's go, Martha. Yeah, let's go. So I wanted to just close with a story, and this is a story that it is not a Christian community, Camphill, but it does. Rudolf Steiner was very open to all religions, but he was steeped in Christian esoteric experience, and his writings are truly extraordinary, and he's so prolific, it's unbelievable. But they have a Christian community worship service that I went to on a Sunday morning, and there are many people there who are of many different religions, and some are active in this and some are not. But of course, I never met a religious ritual I didn't like, so I wanted to go. And so I went, and it was, we were, it was in a big building that we'd had many meetings for the conference. And I went into, it was, somebody said it was, the worship was going to be in the library, which I had been in this room for a workshop. So I went in, and there was a gentleman there who was, clearly he had special needs. He was somebody, villager is what they called him. And so he was a villager, and he went and he sat kind of in the middle of the room and on a sort of a nice chair, and there was another nice chair next to him, and the rest were folding chairs. And so I was just sort of brave. We were the only 2 people in the room. And so I went over and I said, "Hi, do you mind if I sit next to you?" And he, said, "Yes, that's fine." And I introduced myself, and he had, he said his name was Ben, which is my son's name. So I felt, sort of, I told him that. I felt connected to him. Then somebody came in and said, "Oh no, we've decided we're not going to be doing worship here. We're going to go to the chapel." So then we went to another room, and it was a chapel. It was beautiful, red walls, and had a beautiful picture of Jesus, who kind of looked like a woman with long hair. And then I sat down, and I was the only first one in there, and I sat down. And then my new friend Ben came. There was like empty chairs. He came and sat next to me. And it really felt like this, sort of asking and receiving, and seeking and finding and knocking and being welcomed. And then it was a lovely little service. And then at the end of the service, I was walking through these beautiful woods. Oh my gosh, you just can't believe how beautiful it was. And as we were leaving the building, I noticed that he was walking down the same path that I was going to where I lived. And I said to him, "Ben, do you mind if I walk with you?" And he took my hand. It was so, so precious. So I just felt, I felt I had this a kind of communion with this person, who was so kind to me. And I felt over and over and over, I felt a sense of connection to the place and to the people. And anyway, so I'm kind of a Camphill convert. You're going to have to excuse me. So those are my stories of welcome. I was tremendously welcomed by so many people, and special thanks to Dan McKenna, who invited me to the conference, who's a Unitarian Universalist. He has the Emerson Chair at the School of Divinity at Harvard, And he did an incredible job of organizing this conference. It was the best organized conference I've ever been to. With the personal care, I mean, somebody came to pick me up at the airport, just like an hour away. It was really an incredible experience of kindness and service and welcome. So that's my sharing. So is there anything you'd like to say about my new conversion?
Did you come back with any inspiration for our church?
Yes, I don't know if we should, I don't know, but I really feel inspired to continue on this intentional community path. You know, we've talked about, building a church to pray for the earth, and we've talked about living there, and, sometimes we say, maybe Walt and I will just live there, maybe other people will be welcome to live there, and I don't know what that will look like. I really don't know. But I am more committed than ever that I want to give up my life of, seeking my individual welfare and path, my rugged individual way of being. And I want to either join a community, I want to create a community, and I'm really convinced that there's two communities, as I said, who found that when the community is taking care of people with special needs, that it really gets the message of Jesus that, we all have special needs, and that it's all about, this is process theology 101, ecofeminist theology 101, it's all about relationship, and that we are all in need, and that we all have, a tremendous amount that we can give to one another. So, I don't know, Martha. So let's incubate it, and but I'm very excited to learn more and to visit more communities. And now I have friends that I can email and be in relationship with, and so I'm just continuously aware that our little church, I think we're on some kind of mission, and we just have to keep asking and seeking and knocking, and I feel confident that the door will be open. So may it be so. Make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. We'll figure it out. May the blessing of God go before you. May her grace and peace abound. May her spirit live within you. May her love wrap you round. May her blessings remain with you always. May you walk on holy ground. May we all go in peace. Amen.